It's time to bloom into a brand new mystery journal. This creative planner cutie covers the entire first half of 2026, each month featuring a different floral theme, and this whole journal could be yours. Stay tuned to find out how to enter the giveaway. Today we're taking a look at the setup process for all those essential new journal pages, from future logs to trackers and some fun little additions too. Hi, I'm Erin, planning enthusiast and flower lover, and I'm so excited to share this new iteration of the mystery journal with you. The journal I'm working in this time is Tiefossi's A5 foliage notebook. It felt like the perfect fit to house 7 floral themes with a cover that looks like this. It also has all of my favorite journal features like the elastic closure that keeps the notebook closed, gold page edges and a pen loop, a nameplate page just inside the inside cover, numbered pages, and a little pocket in the back where you can stash all of your treasures, plus 2 ribbon bookmarks so you'll never lose your place. Let's get stuck into this setup. I'm actually not using too many things to make this one come together, and my first action is actually going to be to attach this page to the one facing. This is the first doc grid page. It's always a little bit awkward because of the way the journals are glued together, and attaching it to the previous page will actually help the journal to stay together if you fill it really full of things like I am prone to doing. So I'm just covering it with some glue tape and sticking the 2 pages together really firmly so that they'll hold the book together if all else fails. Which means our first doc grid page is now part of a full spread and not just a single page on its own. I went ahead and made some stickers with my Cricut and the foil transfer tool, and I'll be teaming them up with these gold letter stickers as well. I actually drew this theme from something I did in my reading journal and I loved the way it looked, so I'm bringing it over into a full theme here. I'm using these 2 gold foil tapes from JOURNALSAY and the gorgeous pink velvet pre-cut PET tape from the Washi tape shop. Everything I've used is linked down in the description just in case you also want to get your hands on some of these goodies. I'm going to start by laying down the base of this spread, which is this kind of train track arrangement of my gold lace PET tape. That means I have a strip at the top going just a little bit below the top of the page, not all the way up at the edge, and the same thing underneath, although I flipped the tape to go the other way, so I'll still have that lace edge facing outward. That's going to leave us with plenty of room through the center of the spread for all of the pink florals. I wanted this cover spread to be just an explosion of pink, but because it's a very soft kind of pink color palette, it's not feeling too overwhelming to look at because it doesn't have a lot of visual weight. I am completely obsessed with the pre-cut PET tapes from the Washi tape shop. They are my favorite thing to use because they're very easy and you get a lot of variety on a single tape and you get lots and lots of loops on a single piece of tape as well. But I think a pair of sticker tweezers is an absolute must for this kind of sticker delivery system. Otherwise, it's really difficult to get them peeling up and placing where you want them. I'm starting with the larger clusters of flowers from the tape and placing those in kind of the center of the spread, really weighting everything towards the center, the crease in the middle of the page, and then I'm using some smaller stickers to fill in the gaps and make it feel like all of these stickers could potentially just be one big sticker. While I'm at it, I thought I would tell you a little bit about my mystery journal project in case you're new to the channel and you're thinking, what does that mean? The mystery journal is a journal that I set up for 6 months of the year all in one go and then give away on my channel. So the one you're looking at here will cover all the way through to the middle of 2026. The idea is that whatever I'm doing with my own bullet journal, I'll always have a more relatable reference that you can look at for some inspiration here because I think the mystery journal will always be A5. And by its very mysterious nature, at the time I'm setting it up, I don't know where it's going to end up or whose hands it's going to find itself in. So I need the pages inside to be kind of universally usable. Now that I'm happy with the placement of all of the flowers on the page, I'm going to go ahead and add my 2026 lettering. I've done these as separate stickers so I can be very precise with my placement of them. And thankfully the gold Cricut foil is a really good color match to the gold foil of my lace tape, so that worked out really nicely. That universally usable necessity of the mystery journal is probably also a bit more relatable than my own journal because I am a full-time content creator on YouTube and I realize that's going to be quite different to most people's careers. So the pages inside this one might make a little bit more sense to you to refer to rather than the ones in my own journal, which I actually really do use. I'm making my first mistake here already. This quote at the bottom of the page is actually not intended for this setup at all. I did the stickers for another setup that's going to be one of the monthlies in here at the same time, and I got confused about which one was supposed to go where. I will realize it later and we'll pick that up and put the correct one down, but for now, here's a little preview of an upcoming month, I guess. Also, one of the side effects of having a YouTube channel that's all about stationery is that I get sent a lot of stationery for free, which is a really nice problem to have, but it does sometimes overwhelm me. If you've seen my decluttering videos from a few months ago, you will probably understand. So the mystery journal gives me an outlet to use up some more of that stationery and get to really play with it and have a good time, show you some different options for potentially using that stationery if you have it too. And those are all the reasons the mystery journal exists. That's our cover spread sorted out, so we're going to turn the page and move on to the first of our functional spreads. This one's going to be a future log for the first 6 months of 2026. Future log is just a fancy name for calendar, particularly one where you record things that will be happening in the future so you can refer back to them as time passes. And I've made little foil stickers for each of the months here, so I'm adding a little line of pink with the 850 Tombow, which I think they call flesh. I don't think it's really a flesh color, but sure. And that's where I'm putting the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for each of my tiny calendars, which I will be writing by hand. That used to be a huge feat at new journal setup time. I remember finding my hand really tired after doing that. I guess I've built up some muscles. I've trained for years now, and this is actually not difficult to do at all for me anymore. I do recommend though, if you're someone who likes to have some entertainment on while you set up your journal, if you're listening to a podcast or music or watching a TV show or something like that, just go through and mark in pencil the first and the last day of each month and maybe the number for the Monday column or the Sunday column, however you set your journal up first. So you don't get into that headspace where you keep writing numbers beyond what you need to. So maybe February goes past the 28th or you keep going past the 31st in March or something, because I have definitely made that mistake before and it is frustrating. I'm going to leave the inside of my pages empty so that the planning can happen there for whoever ends up with this journal, but we're going to use the outside edges of the pages for some decoration. I call this one my columns decoration system, and I have a whole video about the 3 decoration systems I use most often in my bullet journals. You can check that out at the link in the corner if you like, or down in the video description. My approach to decorating this theme is going to be basically the same every time, which is to lay down some gold lace and then just add a couple of pink flowers on top of that. The placement of those pink flowers will depend very much on the function of the page, just making sure that nothing gets covered that needs to be used, filling in gaps that don't need to be used while also keeping some balance across the spread so that things feel nice and even. This tape also has some really pretty little pink and yellow birds on it too, so I want to make sure those get represented wherever possible as well, definitely on this spread. Just to make it really clear where the planning will happen on this spread, I'm going to add some second line highlights next to each one of the months, and I'm going to alternate between my 850 pink Tombow and also the 090, this really nice soft yellow. Now that the birds are down, especially on the page, I feel like these really draw in the colour scheme quite nicely. So what would you put on this page? Anything that you need to know about in the future: birthdays, special events, holiday dates. You could adapt this spread into a completely different purpose if you wanted to, and you could use it for assignment planning for school or content planning if you make content on the internet like I do. You could also not go so hard on the decoration and leave some space on both the left and right of the calendars and use each side for a different purpose. The possibilities are limitless. That's why I love bullet journaling so much. Now, I mentioned earlier that this journal covers the first half of 2026, but I am also including just a single page here for the second half of the year. I find that for some of us, it's helpful to have places where we can plan really far in advance. And especially when you're getting into the April and May months, then you kind of need to have a space where you can write things down that you might need for your next journal. So this page is a continuation of the future log. It's just quite condensed compared to the previous. Since I'll be needing that horizontal space next to the calendars for planning, I'm going to add my decoration at the top and bottom this time instead. Something I've really been enjoying about working with titles on stickers is that you can layer them over the top of things when they're on white sticker paper, and that little bit of a background that just goes around the edges, the offset of the sticker, will help things to really stand out from the background. So I'm actually going to really lean into that here and add some of my tiny stickers down where each of my month titles will go, and then put my little gold sticker on top of that. It's going to look so cute, just wait. You see the vision, right? I think it's so adorable. I love the way it came together. I don't quite have my Cricut settings completely nailed down for this kind of thing yet. I'm finding that it's a little tricky when you're working with foil because you have to tell it the hardness, the firmness, with which you want it to press on the foil, but then it uses that same firmness to cut, and it's a little bit too much pressure and it cuts all the way through the paper rather than just the kiss cut that I want. So that's going to require some finessing, but I'll keep working on it. We've moved on to the right page now anyway, and this is a page for the setting of goals. I'm leaving the use of this one quite open to interpretation, so the bottom will be our decoration, and I've added second line highlights in 3 different colors so that the winner can potentially use the separate colored sections for different areas of their life, say personal goals, financial goals, work goals. Alternatively, if they wanted to set something like a word of the year, a focus of the year, they could make a mood board page and collage around that idea, or letter it really beautifully and really large on the page. Or they could write some more long-form text around their goals instead. The possibilities here once again are quite vast, so however the winner wants to use it, or however you want to use it, if you include a page like this in your own journal, that's completely up to you. Once we've got the goals header positioned on the page, the spread is now complete, so we can turn the page and move on to the tracker spread. I feel like this is the one everyone thinks of when they think of new journal setups. It's the calendar spread and it's the trackers. These ones are trackers that cover the whole 6-month period of the journal, so they're going to be really good for comparing things, whether, a medication has an effect on your mood or something like that. They're also really good for things that you're going to want to track long term and potentially have the data handy to look back on. Whereas there will still be tracker pages in the monthly setups as well, but those might be for things that come and go, so not necessarily things that you want 6 months worth of data just about that one thing. I'm including 2 different kinds of tracker this time actually. The top section that we're working on at the moment is the standard year in pixels kind of design, although it's only going to cover the first 6 months of the year. And rather than just 1 square for each day of the year, I'm including 2, so you can track 2 separate things on that tracker if you'd like to. The tables underneath that tracker on the left page there are for the key, so that's where you'll put the symbol or the color that you'll be using to track whatever the thing is that you're tracking. And the other tracker on the bottom side of the right page, I'm actually going to completely mess up. Don't worry, I have since fixed it, but I didn't realize until I was recording the voiceover for this video, so unfortunately throughout this video it's going to continue to look really weird because I, for whatever reason, didn't realize how much I'd messed it up. It's really odd. So it's essentially supposed to be a grid of 31 boxes so that you can use the 9 spaces inside to track things in a few different ways there too. You can use it the same way as the year in pixels, so you color in a little box, one of the 9 for each of the days that you complete the thing. Or you can use it to track potentially 3 different habits, kind of similar to the way I track when I start and finish reading books in my reading journal, in what they call the don't break the chain method. So you'll start to draw a line from the first time that you do the thing, and the idea is that you keep the line going and don't break the chain, and that keeps you continuing to do the habit. I like the idea of combining different styles of tracker across a single spread like this, so you end up with kind of a tracker dashboard. I'm actually going to jump into that calendar that I'm about to royally screw up in the bottom right corner with my trusty grey Tombow, the N89, my absolute favourite, and just add a really nice faint number in the background of each of these so you know which day you're dealing with each time. I can't explain to you what my thought process was here about why I got to the end of this row and thought, yeah, that's good, that's fine, there shouldn't be an extra box there. Don't know what you mean. In fact, I'm going to commit to the error and remove more boxes that I actually need. Go off, Queen, I guess. I'm also going to commit even further by filling the space that I will need to fix this tracker with some decoration, but not to worry. I will do what needs to be done in order to make sure that it's functional for the person who wins this journal. I'm so sorry. I don't know where my head was at when I was setting this up. That's all the functional stuff done though, except for fixing that, so let's go ahead and decorate. One of my favorite things to do when you're working on decorating somewhat small areas but you're working with larger stickers is to just chop them down the middle and then put them right on the edges of the pages so they look like they're just appearing from out of frame. It can be some extra bang for your buck to make your stickers stretch a little bit further too, so that's always a plus as well. Let's just imagine that grid in the bottom right goes all the way up to 31 days and pretend that it's finished, and then we'll turn the page and move on to our next spread. This one's actually going to be 2 spreads with a little Dutch door. I made the mistake of cutting it with my new little straight edge cutting machine thing that sucks. It made a really horrible edge, so I'm just going to clean it up with some scissors. It has no right cutting like that. It's brand new. It should not be blunt. So why would you put a Dutch door in your journal? Why would you cut away some of the page? In this case, it's laziness. I only want to have to decorate this spread once, and if I don't cut away some of the page, I will have to decorate it twice. So that's just me trying to be efficient, I guess, but there are other reasons too. In this case, it also serves to make it really clear that these 2 spreads operate together for a single purpose. And that purpose is tracking finances, tracking money, tracking income, tracking spending, tracking savings, all of that good stuff. This is probably the hardest spread to make universally usable, but I love a challenge, so we're jumping in, and I try to make it different in every mystery journal too. This first half of the financial spread for this journal is all about looking forward. It's divided into 4 columns, and the first one that we're adding the second line highlight here to is for goals. This is specifically financial goals, goals to do with money. That's going to look different for everyone, so just adding the second line highlight is my way of keeping this really empty so that you can set maybe a specific saving goal here and use it like a thermometer that you fill up, or maybe you can just write down what your goals are, particular dollar values you'd like to hit for different things. Maybe you have an income goal for the year that you want to hit, especially if you have a side hustle. Maybe you've got a particular business income goal you'd like to hit. So many possibilities. The second column here is for income, so this is where you'll write down how much money you're earning from one month to the next. Whether that fluctuates or not is going to be different for everyone, but once again, I like to build in as much flexibility as I can, so I'm adding the initial for each month here, just in case. And if you're someone who's on a salary and you're paid weekly or fortnightly or some other different interval than that, sometimes it can be really useful to break that down and work out what your monthly income is anyway. So the way the winner of this journal uses this spread is going to really depend on their own financial situation. The third column here is for savings, and I have run out of some of my stickers, so I have to kind of make some other letters out of bits of the letters that I have remaining, which is a little tricky. I envision this being used for total savings, so whether you have savings in a few different bank accounts or for a few different specific purposes, adding it all together and putting the total of all of those savings here and watching it grow from one month to the next, or maybe watching it drop if the thing you saved for is achieved and you spend that money. But it could also be used for just one specific savings goal if you would prefer. And the last column is the least fun of all because it's for bills. This is the place to write down those reoccurring bills, particularly ones that you pay once a year and tend to forget about when they're creeping up on you. Having them somewhere like this that you can refer back to can help you be more prepared for those bills, especially if you're coming back every month to write down how much your savings have grown. Like, it's right there, you'll just see it and you'll be like, oh, that's right, I have to pay this thing next month. I'd better put some money aside. Of course, even the dry and potentially boring spreads need to have some decoration too, because that's how we make the whole thing fun. So I'm going to make sure there are some flowers represented here too. Maybe even a few little birds. Something I almost always do when I remove some of the paper from the pages of my journal is round them into a corner shape with a little corner punch tool like this one. That's basically it for our first spread of the finance tracker Cashflow page here. I never know what to call it, so I've gone with Cashflow this time. Let's move on to the second half. This half is all about money leaving your account. This is about your budget and your spending. The grid we're making on the right side there, this table is all about your expenses. So this is where you can write down those reoccurring things, put things into categories. This is actually pretty much lifted from my own spending journal, my own money journal that I keep, where I have categories like life expenses and things like expenses for my pets, business expenses, groceries, stuff like that. They all get their own categories. And the monthly setups in this journal will each have a spending tracker as well, which relates back to this one. The table on the left page is for your budget, and this is where you'll write down how much you would like to be spending on those certain categories from one month to the next. At the end of every month, you can add your totals onto your spending tracker and compare them to the budget on the opposite page to see if you're staying on track, if you're spending more than you meant to, or if you're spending less than you expected and can put some more money into savings. These two tables really do kind of work together, so it made sense to have them on facing pages, so it was really easy to refer between the two. Here's how both of those cash flow tracking pages look together, one after the other. Let's now turn the page and move on to our next spread. Since the last two spreads were quite dry, I thought it would be fun to put something a lot more light-hearted and easygoing here. So, on the left page we're adding a bingo board, and on the right page I'm using Jashi Corinne's Then and Again system, although we're not calling either of them what they're originally called. I'm leaning into the floral theme of the journal and giving them both floral names instead. So let me talk you through the squares on this bingo board, and I have made this available as a printable for my lovely channel members just in case they'd like to print this one out. I have themed these around flowers as well, so you've got buy or pick some flowers, take a slow walk, write a letter, use a leaf as a bookmark, drink a floral or herbal tea, watch the sunset, wear a favorite outfit, read a comforting story, collect a pretty stone or seashell, bake a sweet treat, make a junk journal page, give a compliment, light a candle, write down an inspiring quote, meet up with a friend, wear a favorite perfume, write down a small wish, take a photo of a flower, dance in the sunshine, watch a favorite movie, take an afternoon nap, play a board game, listen to music outdoors, and list your favorite things. Of course, the middle square is a free square, so it's easier to get a bingo in any direction, and I used a little rose stamp from the Notebook Therapy vintage rose stamp set to fill that space in. I want both of these pages to feel cohesive even though they serve different purposes, so I'm going to decorate them together, which is why I'm taking the lace all the way from the left to the right side of the page along the bottom there. And this is the Then and Again, although I'm calling it something else. This is a list of prompts that you fill in at the beginning of the year when you're first starting the journal, and then again at the end of the 6-month period when you're finishing the journal up, just to see where you were and where you are. I'll read you the list. We've got goal, savings, hobby, dream, food, song, book, movie, TV show, podcast, and 2 blank ones at the bottom that you can fill in for yourself if you are the winner of this journal. So maybe at the beginning of the year you're really into Pop-Tarts, but by the middle of the year you're all about pizza. You can put that in the food section. And maybe you started the year with your 10,000th Gilmore Girls rewatch, but you finished it off with something like Supernatural. Then you can put that in the TV show section. I'm adding a second line highlight and alternating my colors here, just because I thought that would look really cute and take up the page in a way that is quite obvious how it's supposed to be used. It's functional decoration, if you get what I mean, and then we add some decoration, and then we add our headings, which I'm really proud of. I think they're really cute. Instead of calling the bingo board a bingo board, we're going to call it the flower patch. And instead of then and now or then and again, we're going to go with bud and blossom for the right page, because I really like that theme of growth. It was at this point I realized the quote I'd put on my cover spread was the wrong one. This is not supposed to go in this theme, so luckily my sticker tweezers helped me out. I was able to peel it back up and stick it back down to my sticker backing paper. I actually just cut a bit of the sticker paper off so I wouldn't really have to worry about this too much and just stick it wherever, which means now we can put the correct quote down on the page. I chose this one from Ralph Waldo Emerson because I thought it was a really beautiful quote about flowers, very fitting for the journal, and that is, "The earth laughs in flowers." How lovely. I also didn't have any birds on this cover spread, and I really did want to make sure they were represented there since they are throughout the rest of the theme, so just one bird going down there, and then we'll go back to where we were. Something I've been really enjoying in my own journals over the past couple of years is including some kind of memory keeping in whatever form that is, whether it's text, whether it's junk journaling, whether it's just including photos that I took on my adventures through life. I loved having some memories, so that's what this spread is going to be for. I'm dividing the spread horizontally so the top and bottom of each page can be used for a different month. So we'll have January, February on the left page there, we'll have March and April on the right page, and then we'll turn the page over. We'll go onto the next spread, and we'll have May and June over there. I'm trying to keep this quite flexible, so I'm just adding my decoration through the center. We'll add some second line highlights, and that'll be about it for this spread. However the winner of this journal wants to record their memories is totally up to them, but this is the basis for them to hopefully do it quite easily. So while I'm setting this up, let me tell you how you can enter the giveaway to potentially win this journal. First of all, you need to be subscribed to my channel, hi, the one here that you're watching right now. Then you need to go down to the description and look for the link to the Google form. You need to fill that Google form out to enter. It will ask for your email address, for your name, for your Instagram handle if you have one, which is just another avenue for me to contact you if you're the winner, just in case. If you don't have Instagram, that is so fine. It will ask you to confirm that you're subscribed to my channel, and then it will ask you a question that you have to answer. And that question is, what does growth mean to you right now? I'll be announcing the winner on Monday the 1st of December, Australian Eastern Standard Time, so depending on where you are in the world, that could be November 30th your time. This way I can ship the journal out in early December and it will have a whole month to reach its new destination, because quite often they do end up going overseas. And of course I want it to reach its new home before the beginning of the new year, so that the winner can use the journal in 2026 if they'd like to. Now let's do all of that again for May and June, although this time we'll only need the left page, so we're going to use the right page for something else. can be tricky when you have two pages next to each other that serve different purposes, especially when the first page here is serving a continued purpose from the previous spread, so I thought something that would tie really well together with memories is reflection. Looking back over the 6 months that was when you get to the end of this journal and thinking about what has changed, what's been good, what could use some more work, reflection is a really powerful tool, and it's also one of the original tenets of the bullet journal method, so having a place to include it in a journal like this I think just feels right. Once again, I'm leaving it super open for the winner of this journal to use however they prefer. I started out with the wrong pink marker by accident, so we've got one line at the top there that I guess could be for a heading if they wanted it to be used that way. I just used the wrong pen, but there's nothing to be done about it now, and I don't think it looks too terrible. But once again, I've kind of divided the page into 3 sections in case the winner of the journal wants to use this for 3 different purposes when they're reflecting. As I mentioned, this journal not being for me and me not knowing who it's actually for, and I like it that way, by the way. I could choose a winner and then design a journal around them, but I prefer to do it this way. I think this is more fun, more interesting, and a lot less work for me, honestly. But since I don't know the needs of the person who will end up with this journal, I like to include some spreads that are really flexible. This is one of them. It is literally just a spare spread, so I'm lightly decorating the corners of this one, but I'm leaving the middle of the spread completely open, so if there's a purpose the winner of this journal needs to fill that I haven't already covered, they can include it here. And if there isn't anything that they need to use this spread for, I'm also including some extra bits and pieces of stationery from all of the themes in this journal when I ship it out to the winner, so they can just have a good time playing with those extra pieces. And maybe it can be a quote page if there's a particular quote they'd really like to include. Maybe it can be for more memory keeping for a specific event. Whatever the purpose is, I am happy for them to use it in whatever way they see fit. And this spread is for the same purpose again, I'm just decorating it in a slightly different way. So I'm center weighting all of my decoration this time, nice and close to the spine. I'm covering the fact that I just ran out of this lace PET tape with some flowers at the top and bottom. Love when you can be sneaky about something like that. And I will add some tiny flowers in the opposite corners as well, just to make this feel really nice and cute, but on the whole, I'm again keeping this one mostly blank so the winner can use it for whatever purpose they see fit. Add a seasonal bucket list, or track all the books or TV shows or movies that you consume in the year. Start a really early Christmas gift list, anything goes. Can you believe it? That is the first setup in the new mystery journal for 2026, all complete. If you are a lover of flowers and you would like to enter the giveaway, don't forget to check out the link down in the description and fill out the form. And if you do enter the giveaway, please make sure to keep an eye on your junk folder at the beginning of December as well, just in case you are the winner. This theme was actually so easy to put together. It was really only 2 elements. So if you're about to dive in and set up your first bullet journal ever, I really recommend a theme like this. It's really impactful, but also super simple and easy to pull off. I do also have several years of new journal setups on my channel too, so if this isn't quite the inspiration you're looking for, I reckon I still have something that would suit you. Thank you so much for planning with me. I really hope you have the most wonderful year of planning and journaling in 2026. If you're intrigued by this mystery journal concept and you'd like to see what they've looked like in the past, here is a playlist of all of my mystery journal videos throughout 2025, including all of the monthly themes within, as well as a video YouTube thinks you might enjoy.